Some journeys don't end when the road does, they simply change direction. After deserts, plateaus, and endless miles, Peru still had more to reveal. The landscape slowly began to change. The road climbed higher, the colors softened, and the air grew thinner. The silence grew deeper, and without fully realizing it, we weren't just gaining altitude. We were climbing into history, long before borders, long before maps. Before conquest, there was a city believed to be the center of the world, Cusco, the ancient capital of the Inca Empire. As we approached, the city revealed itself slowly, rooftops unfolding beneath the mountains, streets layered with centuries of movement. Nothing here feels accidental. Cusco is a place where stone remembers everything, where walls built without mortar still stand with impossible precision, and where time refuses to move in a straight line. Ancient Inca foundations support colonial buildings. Modern life flows over structures older than memory itself. Walking through the streets, I thought I was arriving as a traveler, but something felt different. Cusco wasn't waiting to be visited, it was waiting to be understood. Every corner holds contrast, past and present sharing the same space. History not preserved behind glass, but lived, breathed, and carried forward. As the day fades and the city settles into evening, the feeling grows stronger. This is not a story about ruins or postcards. It's about what happens when the past still breathes through the present, when a place refuses to remain silent. This is where the journey continues. It lets you arrive and then asks you to slow down. Every step here feels layered, not just with stone, but with memory. The streets rise and fall gently, as if the city is still breathing with the mountains around it. Nothing is perfectly straight. Nothing needs to be. Stone walls guide you forward, some carved centuries ago, others shaped around them later. Different worlds, sharing the same foundation. You begin to notice how often the past appears beneath your feet. Inca stones, cut with impossible precision, no mortar, no gaps, still holding everything above them. Colonial buildings rest on these foundations, quietly borrowing their strength. And modern life moves through it all unaware, or perhaps deeply aware. People pass by. Vendors set up their stalls. Conversations drift through the air, mixing languages, mixing centuries. Cusco doesn't feel preserved. It feels alive. You look up, and the architecture changes the sky. Church towers rise where temples once stood. Bell towers replace sacred platforms. And yet, the ground beneath them never forgot what it was. There's a quiet tension here. Not conflict, but coexistence. The Inca world didn't disappear. It endured. As you move through plazas and side streets, the city opens and closes around you. Wide spaces invite you to pause. Narrow alleys pull you inward. Every corner feels intentional. Every turn feels like it leads somewhere older than memory. You realize that Cusco isn't asking for attention. It's asking for patience, to listen, to notice. In the plaza, people gather without urgency. Some sit. Some watch. Some simply exist in the moment. The mountains stand quietly beyond the rooftops, never far away. Always present. Always watching. They remind you that this city was never meant to be separate from nature. It was built with it, around it, in dialogue with it. Clouds roll in, light shifts, stone changes color. Cusco transforms constantly, not through construction, but through atmosphere. You start to feel it then, that sense that this place doesn't belong to any one time. It holds many at once. The footsteps you hear now follow paths walked long before names were written down, and long after empires fell, the city remained. Not frozen, not erased, just continuing. As evening approaches, the pace softens again. The light fades slowly, and the city settles into itself. There's no grand conclusion here, no final reveal. Cusco doesn't end a story, it opens one. And standing here, between stone and sky, past and present, you understand something quietly but clearly. You didn't come to Cusco to see history. You came to feel it. And once you do, it doesn't let go. Above Cusco, the city loosens its grip. The streets fall away, the noise fades, and the land begins to speak more clearly. Sacsayhuamán doesn't rise suddenly. It reveals itself. Stone by stone, walls stretch across the hillside, not stacked, but locked together. Massive blocks shaped as if they grew this way. Each stone different, each stone essential. No mortar, no force. Only precision and patience. Standing here, scale loses meaning. These stones were moved without wheels, without steel, without written plans, and yet they remain, unmoved, unchallenged by time. From above, Cusco looks small, organized, contained from here. You understand why this place mattered. Sacsayhuamán was never just a fortress, it was a statement. A boundary between earth and sky. Between human intention and something greater. The wind carries silence differently up here. Heavier, older. You don't walk through Sacsayhuamán. You measure yourself against it. And in doing so, you realize something quietly unsettling. This place was not built to impress us. It was built to last. Back in the city, Cusco moves again. Footsteps echo where armies once passed. Stone walls guide streets that were never meant to be straight. Here, the past doesn't sit behind barriers. It lives at street level. Inca foundations hold colonial facades. Cafes rest on walls shaped centuries before coffee ever arrived. Every turn feels deliberate. Narrow passages open suddenly into light. Courtyards appear where you don't expect them. The stones underfoot are uneven, worn smooth by time, by weather, by millions of lives moving forward without leaving the past behind. Faces pass quickly, languages overlap, Traditions continue quietly between errands and conversations. Nothing here feels frozen. Nothing feels rushed. Cusco doesn't ask you to look back. It asks you to notice, to slow down, to listen to what remains between the cracks. Walking these streets, you realize something subtle but undeniable. This city isn't preserved, it's still becoming. After many sacrifices Yosh had already made along the way, especially when it came to food, there was one rule that never changed. Yosh is vegan, so tonight the decision was clear. We chose a vegan restaurant, and in Cusco, surprisingly, the options are special. I accepted the challenge, even though I'm a convinced carnivore. As I stepped inside, I felt something unexpected, and a lot of curiosity. No familiar smells of grilled meat, no comforting certainty, just colors, spices, ideas I didn't fully understand yet. I wondered, what exactly was waiting for me on that plate, and whether this city, once again, was about to change more than just my expectations. I was positively surprised by the sheer variety of Peruvian cuisine, by the explosion of flavors, by the way ingredients come together, sometimes gently, sometimes boldly, but always with intention. What I expected to be a compromise turned into an experience. This wasn't just a meal, it was another journey, a different kind of exploration, one that doesn't follow roads or maps, but curiosity. Here, even without meat, the table tells stories. Of land, of culture, of imagination. And for a moment, I realized something unexpected. Travel isn't only about where you go. Sometimes, it's about what you're willing to taste along the way. The weather here changes constantly. Sunday, clouds, rain, sometimes all within the same hour. But Cusco has taught us something important. You don't wait for perfect conditions here. You move when the moment feels right. After the unforgettable days spent in the city, our thoughts begin to drift forward again, toward a place we've only seen in images and barely believe is real. A new destination comes into focus, one we expect to be at least as spectacular as everything we've experienced so far. High in the Andes, where color replaces stone and the landscape seems almost unreal, Rainbow Mountain, Vinicunca, and once again, the road begins to call. Crossing the city after the wonderful time spent here feels different. Not like a departure, more like a procession, almost like a quiet, personal, triumphal march. From above, from the slopes of mountains that have watched over Cusco for more than 1,000 years, we begin to move again. Not in a hurry, not with regret, but with respect. The city stretches beneath us, layered and patient. Stone upon stone, Century upon century, these mountains have seen empires rise and fall. They have seen silence replace ceremony and life return again. Walking through Cusco now feels like acknowledging all of that. The streets narrow, as if guiding us inward. Stone walls press closer, not to confine us, but to remind us where we are. Every step echoes against surfaces shaped by hands long gone, yet never forgotten. Here, history doesn't announce itself loudly. It whispers. In the uneven stones beneath our feet, in the way streets bend instead of following straight lines, in corners that seem to hide memories rather than secrets. These narrow passages once carried messengers, priests, traders, soldiers. They witnessed moments of glory and moments of loss, and now they carry us. We move through them slowly, consciously, as if instinctively lowering our voices, as if the city deserves that courtesy. From certain angles, Cusco opens suddenly, a glimpse of sky, a distant rooftop, a mountain watching silently in the background. It's impossible not to feel small here, but not insignificant, because Cusco doesn't diminish you, it places you. It reminds you that you are part of something much larger, something that began long before you arrived and will continue long after you leave. Crossing the city feels like a final gesture of gratitude, a way of saying thank you, without words. Thank you for the stories carved into stone, for the patience of these streets, for allowing us to walk through time without demanding anything in return. As we move on, Cusco doesn't cling. It doesn't ask us to stay. It simply remains, exactly as it always has. And as the city slowly disappears behind us, one thing is certain. We are leaving Cusco, but Cusco is not leaving us. On the way to the top of the mountain, I decided to try something new, not only out of curiosity, but out of necessity. Up here, the air is thin. Breathing becomes heavier. Every step demands more than you expect. So I chose a different way forward, horseback riding. What I didn't expect was the person walking beside me, the woman leading the horse. For me, a true heroine. Calm, completely present. She guides the horse with quiet confidence, step by step, at an altitude where even standing still feels exhausting. And she is not alone. Along the path I see many women like her, leading horses, carrying small children in their arms, working in conditions that test the body and the spirit. What moved me most was the respect they show their animals, the care, the patience, the responsibility. These women are not just guides. They are mothers, protectors, and partners to their horses. The sacrifice they make for their families, for their animals, for life up here is humbling. Standing there short of breath, I felt only one thing: respect. Rainbow Mountain, Vinicunca. It's hard to find the right words. It was hard then, up there, at 5,020 meters above sea level, where every step demands effort and the air feels thinner than thought itself. Breathing becomes intentional, movement slows, the body reminds you of its limits. But what surprises me now is that it's hard again. Not because of the altitude, but because I'm reliving it. Watching this footage, putting the film together, I feel the same pause return, the same silence. Only this time it's the beauty that takes my breath away. Colors that don't belong to a single place, layers that look unreal, as if the mountain decided to reveal everything it had been hiding. Up there, words felt unnecessary. inadequate, and even now, sitting far below that height, they still do. Some places resist description. They don't ask to be explained. They ask to be felt. Vinicunca was one of those places, and maybe that's exactly why it stays with you. Back in the car, the weather changes once again. Clouds roll in, wind rises, rain follows without warning. For the first time in hours, I feel relief. We are safe. As we prepare to leave, one of the women, one of the heroines from the mountain, approaches us quietly. She asks if we could take her and her daughter down to their village at the foot of the mountain. We don't hesitate. The road descends slowly. The landscape softens. Silence fills the car. And the same thought keeps returning to me again and again. What women live in these lands. Brave, resilient, unbreakable. Mothers who work at extreme altitude, in unforgiving weather, guiding horses, carrying children, holding entire families together with strength that never asks to be seen. I watch her in the rearview mirror, calm, present, protective, and then I look at her daughter, small hands, curious eyes, safe in her mother's presence. In that moment, I think about the future, about inheritance that has nothing to do with money, only with example. I imagine this little girl one day standing where her mother stands now, strong, capable, fearless. A heroine in her own right. As we reach the village and say goodbye, one feeling stays with me. Deep respect for these women, for these mothers, and for the quiet courage that shapes life high in these mountains.
Wow, what an experience. Bro, today, some really amazing footage was taken. Definitely, this is one for the books.
The road begins to unwind across the giant plateaus of the Andes. Wide, silent, endless, here the land stretches in every direction, as if the horizon itself has been pulled apart. This is more than asphalt and dust, more than a line drawn across the earth. This road carries intention. It rises and falls gently, cutting through open space where the sky feels closer than the ground. Mountains stand far away, yet somehow always present. The air is thin again, clear, unforgiving. Villages appear briefly, then disappear just as quietly. Llamas and alpacas watch us pass, unmoved by the rhythm of travel. Up here, nothing rushes, nothing needs to. The plateaus don't impress with drama. They captivate with scale, with patience, with silence that settles deep inside you. As the kilometers pass, the road begins to feel like a passage rather than a connection, a slow transition between worlds. Because this is not just a drive toward a destination. It is a journey toward water, toward reflection, toward stillness. Somewhere ahead, beyond these vast highlands, lies a place shaped by sky and legend. A lake born at altitude, where earth and heavens meet. Lake Titicaca, and with every turn of the road, we feel it drawing closer, not just on the map, but within us. If you've accompanied us this far on our journey, we'd be truly grateful if you left a like. And if you feel like continuing this road with us, consider subscribing. Your comments matter more than you might think. They motivate us, guide us, and remind us why we tell these stories. Thank you for being part of the journey.